Now what we want to do is put 5 seconds in the beginning so that we can actually have a title in the beginning. But right now, if we press home, the very first photo shows up right at the very beginning. So we need to shift everything over by 5 seconds. So that's simple. Just go to 5 seconds. So I'm going to click right here and do 500. Then select all my layers. So click on the top one, shift click all the way down to the bottom, not including the solid color layer. So with all the layers selected, now all I need to do is just drag, and then as I drag, they all move together as a group, including the keyframes, which is kind of cool. And then I'm going to hold on my shift key and then bring the left edge of the first photo layers, and it's going to snap to where the playhead is. So now these things begin at 5 seconds, which means we're going to put a title in the beginning here. So with our playhead in the beginning, should have a solid color. Get our text tool right up here and just click and drag a box, and then you can type inside. So the title of this is just going to be Halloween by your username, like this. So to change fonts and stuff, you just select the text, and over here in your character panel, you should see your character panel. If you're in the default workspace character panel, you can change the fonts here. So pick a font, and then you can change the color here. Pick one that makes sense, right? You can change the font size here, like this. This is for the leading. Leading is the space between the lines. So if you take this and make this bigger or smaller, you can change how much space is between the lines there. This is called tracking. Tracking is the space between the letters, just like in Photoshop. And then here is kerning. Put your cursor between two letters, and then you can do kerning. Change the space between any two letters. So that looks just like Photoshop. Okay, so pick a good font and make it nice and big. Make it really obvious. Now the text goes through the entire thing, so we need to trim down the text and make it fade out, so it fades and reveals the next photo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this layer, go to the in point for that, and then shift over by 10 frames. So that's shift page down, and then select the top layer and trim it down at that point, which is option right square bracket. All right, so I'm going to zoom in, equals, zoom in a little bit, and put my playhead, say, at the beginning of this, type T for transparency, opacity, turn on the stopwatch, it's at 100% there, go to the end, which is O for out point, and change that to 0. So now it'll just fade out and reveal the next photo. So this photo, however, the photo underneath, it'd be nice if it faded in instead of just suddenly appearing, right? So let's do a fade in for that one. So I'm going to take this photo down below, move my playhead to the beginning of it, which is I, and type T for transparency. All right, so this one's going to be the opposite. I'm going to turn on the stopwatch, and at the beginning of it, I want it to be transparent. So this should be 0. Now, I'm going to jump to this keyframe. To jump keyframes, just press the letter K. K will jump to the next keyframe forward. J will jump backwards. So J is jumping backwards. K jumps forward to the next keyframe. So now, exactly at this point, I'm going to change the opacity for this photo to 100%. So now, if I scrub, one will fade out and the other one fades in, like that. So that's how you do a fade in. Okay, so minus sign, zoom all the way out like this. So now let's trim it so that we have we don't have all this empty space. So right now, if we rendered this video, you would have all this blank time back here with nothing. So let's learn how to trim it, or trim the composition to the right length in the next video.